This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites. A no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better host, or if you're looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month absolutely free. And now, enjoy the show.
Hey wrestling fans, I'm Jake Barton, creator of the history storytelling podcast called Historium, and you're listening to Busted Wide Open on the Orbital Jigsaw Network.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast. If this is your first time joining us, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 68. I'm Nick Howell.
And holding bags under my eyes bigger than Braun Strowman's grocery trips, I am Sir Ian Dangerous. I was up late watching some NJPW Wrestling Dontaku, and I'm going to make it through today, Nick. I'm going to push through because we got a lot to talk about because we are on the road to Backlash, or should I say we're here. We're already arrived at Backlash. We just had the greatest Royal Rumble last Friday.
I'm still not over WrestleMania yet. You know, right. I'm still riding the high of my win, even though I was decimated at the greatest Royal Rumble. But I feel like there hasn't been a chance to catch my breath yet.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. It's been a very, very weird build since WrestleMania. After WrestleMania, all the timing seems like it's felt like it's been off with WWE, and we have some matches at Backlash that look like they're going to be fun on paper. It's just we've got no real build for them, so I think that kind of pulls away from the card. So it'll be interesting to see how they pull this out. And we'll obviously get into our backlash speculations later on in the show. Right at the top, we definitely have to go through the rest of the main roster stuff that happened this week. We have a ton of other news to talk about in our Wide World of Wrestling segment.
Going to be heavy down there this week.
Going to be heavy down there because there's a lot of news, a lot of interesting things to discuss. But before we get to all of that, please, everyone who's listening right now, make sure you head over to Facebook and join our Facebook discussion group.
Yes.
It's a great place to discuss the show, to discuss professional wrestling in general, sports entertainment, news, happenings, throw up some memes, have some fun, talk to the rest of the community. And it will be the flashpoint for where we start to have some more audience interaction. We have a lot of stuff planned for year 2 of this show, which we're coming up on real quick here.
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks away, we're going to have a little special first anniversary show or end of the first year show. And on that, we're going to discuss a lot of what we're planning for the second year of Busted Wide Open. And there's a lot of exciting stuff. We have a
fancy new YouTube channel now, by the way.
We're going to start being on YouTube. We're going to have some live streaming stuff. There's all kinds of stuff. We'll discuss that on that 1 year show. So come back and check that out when we get to that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have a Twitter account, by the way, in case people didn't know. It's at BWO Podcast, where we do some live tweeting of the week's events as they're going on, as much as we can. We're busy people, right? So we try to do that as much as we can while we're watching. As I mentioned, we do have the new YouTube channel. You can go and just search for Busted Wide Open. You'll find it there. It's currently, we just have our promo that we did for Steven Larson is on there as sort of a placeholder. We're building up the subscriber list. So if you are listening to this, head over, click that subscribe button on YouTube for us. We'll definitely want to build that up because we potentially have some live streaming.
We got a lot of fun stuff
coming very soon.
Coming up. But before, that's all fun and games. Yes. We'll get to that in a couple of weeks when we're ready to discuss it all more thoroughly. But right now, there's a lot of stuff we need to discuss more thoroughly that's going on this week. But to start with that, we got to go over and talk about the big news.
Keith Lee, he's coming to the WWE. I messed that up. Sorry, I was trying to be creative.
That was awkward. But you know what? You were right on.
Yes.
Keith Lee, according to PW Torch, Shout out to Wade Keller. He's coming to WWE. We said that this was speculated a few weeks ago, and now, and we, he didn't have any more indie bookings in the summer. He was the champ at PWG there, and then lost it to Walter like about a week ago. And they're having a goodbye show for him in the next couple of weeks. It is official. Looks like Keith Lee is coming to WWE. It's also being reported that they're a little bit lukewarm on him. They feel like he's got to adjust his style a little bit. They feel like he's kind of a spot monkey right now, and they want him to learn to build matches more, which I don't entirely agree with. I think the dude can work a good match, but I'm just thinking about all the things that guy could do in WWE with his charisma, with his physicality, his size, everything that guy can do, plus the fact that Donovan Dijak has already been signed by WWE, and we could be seeing a reformation of the Monstars tag team with those two guys. That I think that would be absolutely enormous. Either have them as a tag team or feuding against each other. Either way, I'm happy. So looking forward to seeing our boy Keith Lee in WWE.
I am prepared to bask in all of his glory. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I spend every morning basking in his... Wait a minute, that sounds weird.
No,
I wake up every day basking in his... Never mind. I bask in Keith Lee's glory. We look forward to anyone who doesn't know who Keith Lee is being able to bask in his glory as well when he comes to NXT.
One other thing I'll throw in there, he did put up some... After that announcement went up on WWE or PW Torch, it started going around the other day. I did see a cryptic message on his Facebook page that said he checks Instagram, checks Facebook, checks Twitter, scratches his head, almost as if he wasn't sure whether or not he was going to do it or whether or not it was a real thing and it was just rumor. So I don't know. Do we have absolute official confirmation by WWE yet? Not that I know of, nor do I think they will until that move has been made.
WWE doesn't confirm until everything is like he's in the performance center living there, and it's he's ready to be on TV pretty much.
But
you know what I mean?
Trust Wade. If they're putting it out there, it's probably a real thing.
Yeah, if they're saying it's absolutely 100%, I'm going to go with that over anything a wrestler says on Twitter, which is the I don't think there's a wrestler alive who doesn't use Twitter as just a troll marketplace. So that being said, we're excited to have Keith Lee come to WWE, and afraid that's actually kind of all the big news this week. We have a ton of other news we'll get into in the back end of the show, but that is, for us at least, we felt that was worthy of being the big news.
Yes.
The other thing we have to talk about this week is the fact that we have had the go-home shows for Backlash now. We've had the Raw and SmackDown that are supposed to send us into Backlash, all excited and prepped for this card. It felt kind of rushed. It felt like it was...
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, right, exactly. We're having a couple of rematches from the Greatest Royal Rumble. We have a couple of ones that they've set up for a while now, but don't really make sense after the Superstar shakeup. But in order to discuss all of that thoroughly, we need to head over and talk about Monday Night Raw.
Ian, I have not been more entertained by a crowd in a long time. Maybe going all the way back to the Seth Rollins cash-in at WrestleMania.
Oh, geez.
I have not heard a crowd more hyped, more live than Montreal this week during Monday Night Raw.
I think you may have forgotten some of the Chicago and Philadelphia shows we've had in the last year or two, but okay.
No, I haven't.
Okay, but Canada. Montreal was live as hell this week, and it started off, they were obviously prepped for this show. It was a fun crowd both nights. It really does drive home how much the crowd does play into the experience of even watching WWE's product on TV. The fact that if you have a dead crowd, it just makes everything feel flat. And if you have just an absolutely up in your face, fired up crowd, it makes everything feel more fun, more important. Or if you're Roman Reigns, it makes you feel like even more of a heel and less like a babyface, because that man came out to a nearly post-WrestleMania 33 level of boos.
Yeah.
I mean, they were ready to try and keep him off the mic the way that they did on that show this week. Every time he tried to speak, they were trying to boo him down.
Well, the Habs can only dream of getting that kind of heat and that kind of cheer or boos there in Montreal. So the fact that Roman Reigns can come out, and then we follow up with what blew my mind. Jinder Mahal comes out to cheers.
Well, I mean, it was mixed. It was mixed cheers. And then he's getting in the ring and says something like, "I'm going to beat your ass," or something like that. Roman Reigns.
You both suck.
And well, that came later. That came once Jinder had reestablished, yes, I am the heel. Yeah. I am still Jinder Mahal, and you all hate me.
Yes.
But Jinder got cheered. He did legit get cheered right when he got in the ring against Roman Reigns. That is how, I mean, granted, this is just Montreal. It's not obviously the entire world here. And there are places where Roman does get some modicum of cheers, but he did not get any here. Jinder got cheered more against Roman Reigns. Like, I think in recent memory, I think only The Miz has been able to consistently keep boos against Roman. I mean, this is bad.
That's one way to get someone cheered is bring them out against Roman Reigns.
I mean, here's the thing. To be clear, Jinder, though of Indian descent, is Canadian.
Toronto, I believe.
Yeah, so he's down the road.
Which they don't like in Montreal, but
they don't. But it's still Canada.
Anyone that's not French Canadian,
it's still Canada against Roman, like to some level. So it just still makes some sense. That he would get some cheers. But man, the people who got some real cheers were Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the hometown boys, who were supposed to be heels. They got a hero's welcome. I don't know if I've ever heard Sami Zayn get cheered like that. And Kevin Owens, it's been a while. The roof came off the place when both of those guys came out. And you have to imagine that WWE knew that they were going to get that kind of response because of the way they let them come out. The way that the whole thing was presented.
And they played Sammy's music.
They let Sammy's music play, which is definitely more of a face theme. That's why they've been having him come out to Kevin Owens' music with that the Titantron having both their initials on it now.
Yeah.
Because it feels more of like a heel theme, whereas Sammy's is very face.
And they did update the graphic for Kevin Owens this week with the fleur-de-lis, so you had the KO with
his Canadian KO shirt on.
Brilliant.
Definitely
way
playing
to steer
up
the ship into your location.
Well, yes, and then no, because the storyline is, Roman's coming out here and saying, well, I didn't really lose to Brock because of this quote unquote controversy, this controversial ending, where they even had the ref in the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns cage match from Jeddah coming out and apologizing for making the wrong call because it's supposed to be whoever's feet hit first, and he made the call that Brock won because his back hit first. And so they're doing the typical spin when they have a botch at the finish, or they blame it on the ref or whatever. Fine, that's all fine. Now Roman's coming out and saying, "Well, I should be the champ, even though I'm not. It's okay. I'm going to consider myself the champ." And this whole bit was supposed to be these three heels come out and say, "Well, now we want to face you, Roman Reigns," which off the bat doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense. Why do you care about Roman? He just lost the title match. What relevance does he have to you now if you're trying to go for the title? Are you going to beat him? I mean, they didn't drive home that aspect of the story.
Yeah.
Why these three heels were coming out to confront Roman Reigns. And of course, as you would expect, as they're all trying to figure out who's going to fight Roman, it ends up in a scuffle. The three of them beat down Roman. And then this got even more bizarre because you had two other faces come out to save Roman. And the first one made some sense. Bobby Lashley. He doesn't really have a personality or direction yet since they've brought him back. So, okay, Bobby Lashley's going to come out and help Roman. But then Braun Strowman came out to help Roman. And considering their blood feud last year, this did not make any kind of sense.
I was fine with Lashley, but as soon as Braun came out, I've wanted two things back out of last year. One of them was the Braun and Roman feud, and the other one was the what I'll call the Samoan feud between Joe and Reigns, which we're kind of getting. But it's when Braun came out, I kind of went, wait, what? No, don't do this.
Yeah.
But it can only be, I think, because of how over Braun Strowman really is.
And that maybe they're trying
to upstaging Roman.
Well, either that or they're trying to get some of that, good vibes onto Roman by having them be together, which is the only thing I can think is they're trying to get the rub onto Roman from Strowman. But this is the thing is Roman's also got a match this Sunday at Backlash against Samoa Joe, now a SmackDown superstar. And so this all started before the heels came out with Samoa Joe being on the monitor and addressing Roman and saying, "You're a loser, and I'm going to, finish you off basically on Sunday, your faltering career," or whatever, however you put it. But this is my issue is that, so this all ended with the three faces and the three heels in this scuffle being put into a 3-on-3 tag match later on in the show, which right there it just made no sense to me. It's just kind of thrown together illogical booking. Like why would these guys why are Strowman and Roman now okay with each other? And then why are we having this match? It made sense in the sense that they ended up setting up a tag match on Sunday, like just an absolutely thrown together tag match between Lashley, Strowman against Kevin Owens and Sammy, which I'm not excited for at all.
No.
But so that got thrown together because of this 3-on-3 match. But then it was just a way. They didn't really build any heat between
That's just a way
Roman
to get them on
and
the
Joe.
card.
Yeah, but Roman
Some
and
of your
Joe,
biggest names.
there was nothing. There was no build there, and we'll talk about this on SmackDown because they had more with Roman and Joe on SmackDown, and it was better done because it was more direct. But here it was just a bit muddled. It was not just a bit; it was a lot muddled, and I didn't like the presentation at all.
Yeah. The next one that had next up on the Montreal huge pop scale, Seth Rollins came out following this whole series of things after we got this match scheduled for later in the show. And man, what an ovation.
Jesus.
I didn't see that coming at all.
They blew the roof off for Seth Rollins.
Where does this come from?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I like Seth a lot. I think he's wildly talented. I think he has the ability to be one of, if not the top guys in the company, if he's not already.
I think he is.
But the thing is I don't know. I don't get the same level of excitement from him that a lot of people do, and that might just be me. He's missing something. He's missing that one little piece, and maybe it's just the nature of WWE baby faces.
Maybe.
Yeah, and that's just what's not there for me. But there's just something missing, and I haven't been able to put my finger on it. I used to say it was because he doesn't have consistency in his character. Like he's not, you can't look at something and say, that's very Seth Rollins. The everything, like Dean Ambrose, you can run down everything. He's a crazy guy. He's tenacious.
He's
and
a
all this
lunatic.
Stuff. Sure. That if you want to use the WWE's terminology, but with Seth, a lot of the things that they say about him and a lot of things that he does don't gel. What
That's
does
a good point.
What does the Kingslayer mean? He beat Triple H. What is the architect?
2 years ago?
The architect means he's a planner. It means that he's and originally it was a deviousness thing, and when he was a heel, but now it's like, so he's a planner. So what? A lot of the graphics they use for him with like the target, and the burn it down, like all of these things are cool individually, but they don't gel together in something. And that's
a good point.
Really all I can put my finger on with him. But that being said, apparently it's working for Montreal because they let him have everything. You deserve it, and the chant, they gave him a Sami Zayn chant, the Ole Ole chant, and he frankly I thought got overwhelmed by it, which I wasn't entirely happy with the fact that he made it so clear that he was marking out for people marking out for him.
Okay.
Although I did see Vince Russo complaining about that too, and I never want to agree with Vince Russo, but but in a sense,
we've always talked about Raw being bad at building baby faces, and it's one of those things where this is kind of a perfect example of that when you're talking about it gelling together, because they had it nailed with him as a heel, as a little chicken shit heel when he had his Money in the Bank run.
It was the standard chicken shit heel format too, where he was basically the same thing that Jinder does with his goons, and that with Seth with his two guys. It was just kind of standard as well. It's just Seth elevated it.
But it all gelled to counter your point, and that's what I was trying to get at.
Did,
they don't know how to do it with baby faces.
Yeah, but that being said, I can't argue with it because he is getting these kinds of reactions. So maybe who am I to say? Maybe it's just me, but I think that at some point that is going to catch up with them.
I know I want to go to a Monday Night Raw in Montreal now. That's what I do know.
I'll tell you what.
Holy shit.
But Seth came out and gave a nice speech, and then who should come out to interrupt but Finn Balor, who we were worried about recently was kind of getting sidelined and not really looking that great. Well, he came out tonight, and apparently him and Seth are buddies again. They're cool again because Finn basically said, "Look, you're a fighting champ. You just said you're a fighting champ. I would like to be your opponent. Cool. Hey, buddy, let's have a nice friendly competition." And then the Miz Taraj come out to get in the middle of all this and try and be friends with these guys again. And try to form a 4 horseman stable, which I thought was particularly amusing.
That was fun.
Until Finn and Seth beat them down, and then at the last second, Finn turns on Seth and drops him to anticipate their match later in the evening. So we have a little bit of heat, at least, for that, what was essentially the rubber match, because they faced each other 4 times and they're 2-2.
Yeah.
So this was going to be the rubber match. Who was the better man?
Are we going to get anything? So Seth has a match, a title match with The Miz this Sunday at Backlash. Are we going to get? Is that going to be the blow off and done now that they're split off on separate brands?
I can only imagine.
We're going to pick up a feud with Seth and Finn now after this.
I can only. I mean, they're not going to take the Intercontinental belt to SmackDown at this point.
Right.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I think Seth pulls this one off. After that, I would like to see a proper Seth and Finn feud because, my God, they had this match later in the show and it was phenomenal. Every time these guys work together, it's great. It's a great match. And once again, they put on a great show. Very exciting, wonderful counters. And Finn, like they have such chemistry together. And even though Seth does pull off the win here, Finn did look strong. And once again, it was one of those things like with the ladder match in Jeddah where Seth barely pulls it out. Skin of his teeth, like there, but for the grace of God goes Finn kind of thing. So Finn definitely looks a lot better in this, even though he still comes up short. And I do wonder at what point Finn comes up short one too many times and they turn him heel.
Stops smiling.
Well, or he could just keep the smile and be the cocky heel, which I'd be fine with too. Yeah. It might explain his smile more because his smile does great.
He turns a little more smug.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I could get in that.
I think if you put the belt on him, he has a way to do that. And that gives him that kind of ego confidence to make it smuggy in that sense.
I could see him. Yeah, I could see the classic angle where he has to go to heel tactics to win the belt, and then Seth's got to fight back for the belt. That I would like to see that program. Yeah. I definitely would, especially with
wouldn't be mad at it,
especially with the matches that we've been getting from them.
Yep.
And also, I have to real quick point out before we move on to the next segment was Finn set himself up for a major. What do you want to call it? A blackmail material in this segment here where he says, well, you know, Seth, you should give me a match. And Seth goes, well, I wasn't really going to have a match with you, but, and Finn goes, I like that butt.
You know what? I didn't even process that while I was watching it. What I did see,
my puerile brain was in the gutter. Apparently,
he also got not quite to the level of Seth Rollins. He also got quite a pretty big ovation when he came out, to the point that it made him forget what looked like he forget the first time he throws his hands up on his entrance, and then during the second one he actually did it,
and everyone did it,
and everybody did it, and then between it they did a quick cut to Seth Rollins who was corpsing, going, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, and
looking at his arms like goosebumps.
Yeah, pointing out the goosebumps.
That was pretty special.
Yeah, that was. Well, again, Montreal.
Yeah.
Making something even better because of their level of involvement. And Finn's entrance, he's gone to a lot of places where he does the raising the arms thing, and like half the crowd does it. Okay, I guess. And it's kind of sad, and maybe it's Finn not being over as is a constant source of discussion. And Finn always references on Twitter, but it's. When you see a whole crowd do it like they used to do in NXT, it is spine tingling. It's a great, entrance. And I miss his full entrance, I have to admit, even though it is, very long. But I do miss the full entrance sometimes. But anyway, glad to see that Finn's getting a little bit more shine. They had a great match. And then we also, moving on, we had a promo from the Deleters of Worlds. Matt and Bray. They gave us a bit more definition of what they are going to be. Matt is going to be the light. Bray is going to be the darkness. They are the yin to each other's yang. And what did you think about this whole
I enjoyed the promo for itself, but apparently the commentary team did not.
Well, this
Corey Graves is having to constantly defend the legitimacy of this whole gimmick and explain it as if he's a college professor to Michael Cole and Byron Saxton.
Agreed. That was the point I took away from this as well. The promo was fine. I liked the dynamic that they're having. Both of the guys can murder a promo. But afterwards, when you cut back to Coach and Cole, kind of smirking, not even acting confused, but acting supercilious, just very aggressively
cynical
of it. And Corey Graves so earnestly trying to put it over. Corey Graves is supposed to be your heel commentator. He's the guy you don't want to agree with, typically, right? And then Cole and Coach are supposed to be either your face guys or at the what they actually are, which is wet cardboard guys. And they're the ones who are like, okay, well, it is what it is. So if you have them judging this in that way, it does take away some of what should be kind of almost a corny mystique to it. And having Corey so earnestly putting it over, it takes away from Corey's character as a heel commentator. Or if he's playing the devil's advocate, then he needs to do that consistently. The lack of consistency in the commentators makes it so that it's confusing what they're trying to tell us about this angle. And, you know, if the commentary is coming across as being, whatever, this is just dumb, even if it's guys that the quote unquote cool fans don't agree with all the time, it still makes you feel kind of weird about liking this angle if it's being sold in this way by the commentary team.
I agree. And if it's one of those things where people do like it, and I genuinely do like this thing that's going on, this reinvention of Bray Wyatt and this, you know, getting Matt Hardy a little bit of shine, this gimmick that we've been waiting on for more than a year at this point. But the commentary being so schizophrenic about whether or not we're allowed to like it or we should like it, that puts it off to me. I don't know that many people care about this from a commentary perspective as much as you and I are talking about it, but it does make a mess of whether or not it gets over with the WWE universe.
Exactly. It's a subtle thing that concerns me when I look at it.
Yeah.
And it's just something worth discussing on this show because it's something that I noticed. And frankly, unless Senor Benjamin comes in and beats the crap out of Michael Cole, yes. I'm not going to be down with this, but they could pull this out.
They could throw Michael Cole into the lake of reincarnation. You never know. He has gotten in the ring before.
I would pay good money to see that.
Me too.
Speaking of turning into the heat, Titus O'Neil.
World slide.
Oh my God! After one of the greatest botches in history came out this week, and my God, you know, backstage they had to have loved this. I mean, not just Kevin Dunn and Vince replaying the damn thing on Greatest Royal Rumble over and over and over and over again, and making Corey crack up every time, but then showing it again on this show to Titus, having Renee go, Titus, would you take a look at what just happened at Greatest Royal Rumble and making him watch himself bail under the ring? By the way, he already has shirts out about this.
The Titus World Slide?
He is absolutely going to make money off of this.
Oh, yeah.
He's absolutely looking on the bright side.
Well, I think it's bigger than that.
I think so.
You mentioned they're steering into this. He had a spot where he slipped off the ring again. So is it going to become a thing now where Titus just constantly falls and slips and trips over everything?
I was going to say, I don't want this to become a constant gimmick for him. Like, it's going to get old real fast. I liked the promo they had here where Titus was like, yeah, I'm just going to basically make a positive out of this. And Corbin comes in and talks smack to him. And Titus ends up coming down, as you said, interfering in Corbin's match later in the evening against No Way Jose, and slipping on the apron and distracting Corbin and costing him the match, No Way Jose with a quick roll-up. Again, I don't want this to be a constant gimmick where Titus is just a pratfall artist now.
Yeah.
But for a little bit, it's fun. Yeah, let's have some fun with this.
Better than what they've been doing with it.
It was a fun moment, but let's not drive it into the damn ground.
Yeah. Next up, we had Elias and Bobby Roode. So this is starting to get really good, isn't it?
You were nervous about this.
I was nervous. I'm mostly nervous about face Bobby Roode. I can't get my head around that. But I'm well known as loving Elias at this point. So I love everything Elias does, but I love Bobby Roode, but not face Bobby Roode. So that's where my concern with this lies. So I don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah, I have to say Bobby Roode might not be the most engaging face to put against Elias, but at least they're kind of on the same level. But at the same point, both of them need wins at this point. And someone's going to have to lose this feud at some point. Someone's not going to look as good as the other one. And that's not good for whoever that is. And I frankly suspect it's going to be Bobby Roode who comes out of this not looking as good.
I agree.
Although this week, Elias did get the first strike. He in their match, he drove Bobby Roode's neck into the turnbuckle, supposedly, and Bobby Roode had to be stretchered or taken away with a neck injury. So we'll see where this leads. I like the fact that it started off with this kind of angle, with an injury angle, and Elias has injured Bobby, and so it instantly gets some heat on this.
Yeah.
But I am curious to see where this is going, which is better than I was a week ago, which was I don't want to see this.
Okay.
So at least they've got me engaged now.
Well, we got another round of a moment of bliss this week. I am going to go on record and say Alexa Bliss might be one of the most brilliant women wrestlers I've ever seen.
As far as promo.
As far as sports entertainers I've ever seen.
I'm still not 100% on her in the ring.
Yeah,
but she's very good.
Rephrase that as sports entertainers.
Yeah, she's very good. But my God, I had literal tears running down my face during this public service announcement this week, where she again tries to give evidence of how Nia is a bully, not her, but Nia is the bad guy. Talking about a trip that they took to Disneyland where Nia constantly denigrated her and tried to, got her kicked off the teacup ride because she was too short.
She was too short.
Yes, Nia standing there with two turkey legs, one in each hand. And Just the subtle little stuff like that. And
we're not supposed to laugh. We're not supposed to fat shame people.
But that's funny. That's just goddamn funny. And it's because we're laughing at the fact that Alexa's a big enough dick to fat shame Nia.
Yes.
It's here. It's
who is IRL her best friend.
But here's the thing. It's done in a way that it's not... It doesn't come across as genuinely mean-spirited. It comes across as the character being mean-spirited.
It's cliche enough to be
right. It's not where you're getting the feeling like this is actually how WWE writers feel,
right?
Or where there's no comeback for it. It's this is actually a genuinely funny jab. Given the character and the context, I thought it was well done and it was funny. But that being said, God, the way Alexa sells this, the way that her delivery. So damn spot on.
So she does have a rematch at Backlash with Nia Jax for the Women's Championship. What do we do after this? What are things looking like beyond Backlash?
I don't know. I can't imagine she would get the title back this quickly, but especially considering how long her last title reign was. But it's not like I can't not see it.
I have some thoughts, but I want to talk about what comes later before we get to that.
Okay, yeah, let's come back to this. But all I got to say about this, just to put a final piece on it, is she's got to be careful she doesn't get too over. Yeah. With these things, because when a heel gets this funny, you're in danger of becoming more popular than the faces.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Next up, we had a match with Ruby Riott facing off against Sasha Banks, and I'm not sure where this came from. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, basically, they're still slow burning this Bayley Sasha feud, which I'm worried is going to kill the feud when they finally pull the trigger on it. No one's going to care because it's just taken so long to build. And you've got Ruby Riott now on Monday Night Raw, so there was some tension in the last couple of weeks. It's all little backstage vignettes, and it's all not being very well sold. That being said, this match was really good.
Yeah.
It
wasn't on the Hulu edition.
Right. You wouldn't know if you watched the Hulu edition, but it was a very good match. Both of these women can really work, and they do work well together, and it shows how underutilized they are, that this is just kind of a throwaway match, and they can have a match of this quality with no real build and no real stakes. But as far as the Sasha Bayley thing, it's just, why is it such a holding pattern? Are they going to get through Backlash and then pull the trigger on it? And if they do, is it going to be too late?
Well, we're only a month away from Money in the Bank at this point. So I mean, it's a matter of how much time do you really have to build something?
In 4 weeks, they could absolutely build it if they did it right.
Sure.
But this was just a placeholder match that was, unfortunately, I mean, for what, however you want to say it, it was unfortunately a good match.
That nobody saw.
That no one,
right?
Well,
unless you were there or watched live.
Or if you did see it, you may not have realized what a good match it was because it just kind of, came and went and didn't have any stakes. It's just time fill.
Well, hey, we had another appearance by the Authors of Pain this week, which I was very excited to hear their music. But this was preceded by an interview backstage with, what were their names? Jean-Claude?
Francois and Jean-Claude.
Jean-Claude and Francois.
Yes. Two very Canadian jobbers.
Extremely French-Canadian.
Very, very obnoxiously Canadian. In Gorilla getting interviewed and about how great Canada was, and they're speaking in French and coming out to the French crowd, and then the Authors of Pain come out and murder them.
They lasted about 15 seconds before they got into the Super Collider.
Squash, yeah. But then Authors of Pain, first of all, I missed the old Authors of Pain video, the Titantron video. The new one doesn't...
They're just doing graphics. They're just putting the AOP up there. They're putting
AOP up there with the same kind of like ochre and brown and red that you see with Bludgeon Brothers. And they're already a little too close to that as far as like they're the monsters on Monday. Like, I liked the black and white horror faces images popping up in it. This is not working for me as much as their presentation. And I miss Paul Ellering because after the match they gave promo. They, yelled into some mics and saying, we're going to take out everyone on Raw.
Well, they also forgot they needed the mic up to their mouth so people could hear what they were saying.
They kept the mics up to their mouths while they were speaking English, and when they started talking Turkish or whatever, Punjabi, whatever, I know one of them's Turkish, one of them's Punjabi, I believe.
Yeah.
They pulled it away a little bit, so it just sounded like they were yelling stuff.
Listen, I ain't mad at this at all because anytime you have sort of foreigners yelling in their foreign language, especially on the darker heel side of thing and just angry and mad, I'm all about it. This is exactly how I want AOP presented. Just ministers of death. That's all I care about.
It's funny because that could sound awkward when you say that, but I know that you genuinely just like sitting there and going, I don't know what they're saying, but it sounds angry and it's cool.
I don't have to care.
You're right. Exactly.
That's the point.
Yeah. It just sounds cool.
Yeah.
But no, again,
they're really mad.
These guys are very, very mad when they're on the mic. Still waiting to see where they go with AOP. Obviously, we're going to get Jobberland for a while until they determine who they're going to feud with first, who they're going to kill. I think they're probably going to wait a while to give them shots at the tag titles. I don't think they want to take them off of Matt Hardy and Bray just yet. And these guys, when they go for the titles, it should be like Bludgeon Brothers, where they just annihilate a path to the titles, get them done.
Now, to me, this is a total first step rebuilding of the Raw tag team division. Let's get the titles where they are right now is with the Deleter of Worlds. I can't believe I said that out loud. And we got AOP. We've got the other teams that are going to come up. I'm hoping we see the Revival being in this mix somewhere. So I think this is a good first step, and let's reestablish the tag team division on Raw,
which it needed.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that it needs, the women's division on Raw, I gotta say, is still kind of in a shambles, as we just said about Ruby Riott and Sasha. And then we had a match tonight with Natalya versus Mickie James as, kind of retaliation match for
last week, kicking her in the back and all that.
And Ronda Rousey was out ringside and Alexa Bliss was out ringside with Mickie James. At some point, of course, Alexa tries to get involved and Ronda Rousey chases her up the ramp, and Natalya picks up the clean win over Mickie James. Do you read anything into the Ronda and Alexa interaction?
Not yet.
Might we be seeing something if Alexa wins at Backlash?
Yes, I think we might be seeing something.
Do you think they're going to have Ronda go for the title that quickly?
I don't think they're going to put the title back on Alexa Bliss yet, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
I do see a potential feud building here. I just don't know. You guys have heard me talk about Rousey plenty of times at this point, but I don't know if she's there yet. I like her being the sidekick of Natalya so she can train and learn how to work a match just by watching and being there, how to be on TV, how to look at things like the hard cam. All of that stuff, being observant ringside, is much better. You're never going to learn that stuff without being out there. Yeah. So I like what they're doing with Rousey by teaming her up with Natalya. Where it goes with Alexa Bliss, I think, is yet to be seen. I'm 50-50. I'd be okay with it, but I don't think it's a kind of a sure thing yet.
Maybe like post Backlash, if Nia retains, then we see like some tag feuds going forward, like with Alexa and Mickie.
Yeah, we could do something like that. Or if we get all the way to Money in the Bank a month from now, and we still haven't seen Ronda Rousey have a full, clean one-on-one women's match, I'm going to start to get a little more concerned. But I'm okay with where she's at right now.
Like I said, I think she's a long-term project. Yeah. They're paying her more than all the other women. They're going to take their time with her and make sure that she pays off. But that being said, it's going to be very curious to see what happens after Backlash, especially because we didn't even see Ember Moon this week. Yeah. And she's a big piece that they've just put onto Monday Night Raw as well. Speaking of big pieces on Monday Night Raw with no real direction yet, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler had interesting shirtless promo in a closet this week, which was bizarre.
Bro.
It was bizarre to say the least. They reestablished that they've got a chip on their shoulder and they're salty and they're better than everybody else, and they're going to come for everybody else at some point. Whoop-de-doo.
I didn't think it could get much worse than debuting Shinsuke Nakamura with Ziggler last year, but they've done it. They've managed to pull it off. This is the absolute worst thing they could have done to debut Drew McIntyre. He looks like I just don't care.
I'm not going to go and say it's the worst thing. I think my jury is still very out on this. I think that, again, we're waiting till after the pay-per-view. Everything's just been jumbled up since the shakeup. We've had the greatest Royal Rumble. We've got Backlash. There's nothing really set in stone yet. I'm waiting to see what happens after Backlash with these two, that maybe they have a direction for them that we don't see yet, that when it happens, we'll go, oh, okay, and we'll buy in. We haven't had enough time with these two guys yet. I definitely have some massive trepidations about putting Drew McIntyre with Dolph Ziggler, given where Dolph Ziggler is in his career and his overness with the fans relative to Drew McIntyre and where he could be. But so I'm being pet the wrong way on this. But
yeah, me too. I don't like it.
But my jury's still out.
I want to see Drew coming out with flames and bagpipes and just looking menacing. That's what he needs. That's his brand.
Yep.
And whether it's face or heel, it ain't gonna matter. It really isn't, because he is that much of a presence. And 10 years later, from when he was there the first time, my God, what an improvement he is. What the time, how valuable the time in NXT was for him. And it feels like that they just cut his legs out from under him by saddling him with Dolph Ziggler.
But here's the thing. I think this may be a test. I really do. I think this may be them putting the polka dots on Dusty or giving him the Red Rooster gimmick and making him come out and crow. Can you get over with this? You say you're the man? You came back, you want to prove something? Well, prove you can get over. Here's the thing. He was plenty over in NXT, but he's the kind of guy they could easily saddle the whole company on.
Oh, totally.
He's got the presence. He's got the mic ability. He's got the look. He is what they wish Roman Reigns was.
Oh, totally.
He really is.
He's what I wish Roman Reigns was.
And I think what they're going to do, this is complete, rampant, wild speculation on my part. I'll admit that right now.
Yep.
But if he can get over with this, then I think that proves that they can put more responsibility on him. So work with Ziggler, get him over, get Ziggler over with this.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens.
Well, the last thing we really wanted to talk about here was we can't get away from Raw, and we know we've harped on this for the last couple of weeks. There was still a mass amount of propaganda off the back of the Greatest Royal Rumble about Saudi Arabia and how there were women and female kids in the audience and all of this stuff.
They played this video package on Monday Night Raw, I think maybe twice, highlighting how WWE was basically the reason. Like it was at the forefront of creating this progressive new direction for Saudi Arabia, and how they were bringing this progressive ideals to the Vision 2030 plan on all of this stuff. And in this promo package, pretty much all you saw was women and children in the audience being super happy, and then a couple of guys. But it was they were trying so hard to push this agenda, this just rampant. I'm so frustrated by this, because it's such hypocrisy, and it's such just blatant whitewashing of what was really happening there. And while on one hand, I'm really happy that the people in that country got to see this show, and I'm sure it was really fun and amazing for them. On the other side, that's great. You can show all the women in the audience who weren't allowed to be there without a male escort, by the way. So we'll get it. And again, we don't want to harp on this any more than we absolutely have to. It was on the show as much as it was, and we had to note that it happened. But there are more things we need to discuss about the Greatest Royal Rumble down in our news and notes segment later in the show, because there was more controversy. There's still controversy going on about this show, and there's some more ugly stuff that's come out about it since then. So let's leave that on the table for now. We'll come back to that. And in the meantime, let's go over and talk about SmackDown Live.
Well, Ian, as most of the episodes of SmackDown Live recently have centered around top of the show, AJ Styles and the upcoming rematch with Shinsuke Nakamura. This time, though, we got a special treat.
Yes.
Officially, it has now been declared a no disqualification match by SmackDown Live General Manager Paige, so that the Pinchasas do not count as disqualifications. So I'm wondering if this match is going to be hashtag Pinchasa City.
Oh my God. Okay, we're overusing the Pinchasa thing at this point. It's funny, but
there's no such thing.
Let's not drive it into the ground. That being said, no, I'm super happy this is no DQ. That's great. The interesting aspect of this is, will AJ be able to get as vicious? We know Shinsuke is going to do anything he can to win the title. Will AJ be willing to do anything to keep the title? And that's just the classic heel-face dynamic in this type of no DQ match. Great. I love that storyline.
I'm all in.
I'm all in on that storyline. Fantastic. Will Shinsuke and his brilliant new heel persona be able to get the title, because he's willing to do anything, especially knock on AJ's, which he's been doing literally every show, including this one. He gave him another one on this damn show while AJ was busy being distracted by Samoa Joe at the top of the ramp, who came out and delivered a killer promo. By the way, a killer promo that built 3 potential feuds, 3 matches. He built, not potential in some of them, Samoa Joe comes out and builds his feud with Roman Reigns on Sunday. He comes out and builds the feud between Shinsuke and AJ, and he came out and built a potential feud between himself and AJ Styles, where he said, doesn't matter who wins, you or Shinsuke, I'm coming for the title. So he's now he's built a feud between AJ or Shinsuke. We've got 3 things he built here, and he did it all in 2 minutes.
Yep.
Fantastic. Convincingly.
Yeah, and any superstars that were backstage, I hope they went and watched. Anybody that struggles doing promos, because that is exactly how you promo. That's A+ promo material.
You know that WWE trusts your promo when they get that camera zoomed in to chin to forehead. Kevin Owens gets it, and Samoa Joe gets it. AJ does not get it because AJ is not as confident in his promo, and you could see that this week. His promo was not good to open this show. It was very awkward. He looked like he was trying to remember his lines. Joe was money, and they were up in Joe's face with that camera, which shows that they believe in his ability to sell stuff just with his face and his words.
Yep.
So, and it did. He did.
I believe him.
I believe him. I think Joe should have a rocket strapped to him.
I agree. And once they figure out that Roman Reigns isn't going to be the guy, they need to just it's going to be him or AJ Styles, and they just need to take the whole company and just sit it on his shoulders. I was questionable in the past about Samoa Joe. I guess he debuted, was it last summer when he came out and he started the whole feud with Braun and Brock Lesnar for a while?
Yeah. The best Brock Lesnar feud of the last year, by the way, was him and Samoa Joe.
Agreed.
And part of that was because Paul knows how to sell Samoa Joe beautifully.
Yep.
Like he was actually scared of him.
And Joe countering with his own promos. That whole ping pong back and forth for 2 months was
where he choked
brilliant.
out Paul Heyman too.
Yeah.
Like made him look even scarier. It was a brilliant program that they had. We'll get into this when we do our Backlash picks, but I really think they've got to give Joe some more weight and give him when he says I'm going to beat somebody up, have him beat the person up.
Yeah.
Give Joe some legitimacy. He needs that. Because right now, unfortunately, on the main roster, he's for the most part just been words, and he hasn't really been able to back it up, except for accidents like messing up Seth's leg when he first debuted.
Yeah.
So yeah, please let Joe have some sort of legitimacy at some point. I would actually even like to see a 3-way dance between Shinsuke, AJ, and Joe.
I think that's not out of the question.
I don't think so either.
Money in the Bank.
I would be all about that. That would be beautiful. 2 different kinds of heels to face off against AJ, like the intelligent killer and then the psychopath in Nakamura.
3-way ladder match for the WWE Championships at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, maybe. Well, by the way, another little interesting note. So speaking of the AJ Shinsuke match this Sunday, it would be fun if Shinsuke did win his first WWE Championship off AJ Styles with a low blow, because if you remember your history, that is actually how AJ Styles won his first WWE Championship, by low blowing Dean Ambrose.
I did not remember that, but now I do.
Weird. That would be great history repeating itself.
Oh, yeah. Karma coming back.
Yes. Speaking of karma coming back, let's get back and talk about Big Cass and this midget, because you have some issues with the fact that Big Cass came out this week and cut a very good promo on Daniel Bryan, who was not on the show due to medical issues because of what Roderick Strong did to his chest at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Allegedly. We don't really know why, if that was a medical reason he was off the show.
Sure.
Although I would believe it, considering his chest looked like freaking hamburger after that match, man. Woo-wee.
And it's very real that he could potentially get a staph infection from all that bruising that was going on.
Oh, no, that's legit. I've heard a lot of people go, oh, come on, was he going to stub his toe?
Or pectoral contusions.
Those were legit pectoral contusions. That was gross, and I loved it.
Yes, me too.
But so Big Cass comes out, cuts a promo about how shitty Daniel Bryan is and how he's going to beat him on Sunday and show how little people are not as good as big people. And he said, but here's Daniel Bryan right now. And out comes a midget, a little person, excuse me.
Thank you.
Dressed as Daniel Bryan.
So I'm going to direct my stance on this towards you, not the WWE, because you have been on record saying how much you disliked WWE steering into the fat shaming angle. So now
it was the way that they steered into it, but sure.
Yes. So I didn't like, this was fine for me until he started getting a little too punny and making fun of the little person's size.
Now, was that because of the little person, or was that because of Daniel Bryan not being too tall?
There are 2 things in this world that I think are the funniest things ever that make me laugh. Not that they are farting and little people. The things they just make me laugh. They fill me with joy. Okay. But the fact that
you're on a knife edge here, buddy.
Big Cass doing the things, saying the things that he was saying, I don't feel like making references to how little he is and coming up short and all of those things.
Very short-sighted.
Very short-sighted, yes. Is akin to the Nia Jax fat-shaming stuff that was going on Monday Night Raw a month or so ago. So I don't think that... I mean, obviously WWE likes to do this kind of stuff. I thought we were past it at this point, but I guess not. Maybe Vince Russo snuck in and wrote a couple of things in creative. But we were very hard on WWE for the fat-shaming stuff that was going on about Nia Jax. So I don't think it's fair for us to sit here and say that this is okay.
You know what, though? But I don't see this in the same league here, especially because, I mean, here's the thing. WWE does have a long history of having little people wrestlers, whether it's El Torito or Hornswoggle or whoever, and having and playing up the fact that, yes, they are a little person. That's who they are. Daniel Bryan is not a tall man. All right? He's not. But it's not something that is going to be an emotional issue for him, right? And in the case of this little person who's involved in this angle with Cass, part of the thing was that you want, I mean, yes, it's going to be essentially the same thing, but I think it's apples and oranges. I really do, between having Cass talk down to the little person for being short. We just called him a little person, right? Where's the differentiation here?
I don't know.
So, and then having him give him the big boot, which of course is just the ultimate heel move, is, you know, having him be, hey, by the way, the little person, the guy who's playing Daniel Bryan right here. Yes, he's playing Daniel Bryan. He's from here in Quebec. It's Pierre from Quebec, Canada, and him getting the hometown cheers and then big booting the crap out of this little guy. That's classic heel work. What I didn't think it was tasteless in the same way as the Mickie James old shaming or the Nia Jax. Even because, again, if you go back and listen, I thought that the way, for the most part, that they did the Nia Jax and Alexa stuff, I thought that it was in the same vein as this, where it came across that the heel was being a bad person, not that the WWE was getting a laugh in the back about these jokes that they were writing, if that makes sense. I think there's differentiation between having the character be a bad person and the company kind of endorsing the verbiage or the actions that are going on.
Okay, sure.
So I felt like this was more in the former on that, where this was the apple, and the orange was when you had the Mickie James jokes, which Mickie didn't have any retort for, and they kept turning into it as though everyone in the back was like, she is kind of old. You know, which was I thought was,
well, how do you differentiate that?
And again, it was the double standard of that, where Mickey's younger than John Cena, but we're not making old jokes about John Cena.
Right.
So anyway, I didn't rate this at all as being offensive or insensitive or any of this.
I'm just trying to wind
PC
you up over
nonsense.
Here. Yeah, and it worked.
God.
So good, mission accomplished.
Yeah,
all
great.
Right. Do we care about Big Cass yet?
I like this. I like this bit.
Okay.
I'm still sorry.
Montreal wouldn't let him get it out.
You have me all wound up now, man. Speaking of getting wound up, we got to talk about Miz TV, because he definitely wound up. He was like the Swiss utility man this week. The Swiss Army man. Like, he just did everything. He built up 3 feuds in one segment. He built up his own feud with Daniel Bryan that may potentially happen. He brought out Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy and built up their potential feud. And he built up his own feud with Seth Rollins on Sunday. So he just was doing a little bit of everything here. He had as I said, he had his guests Jeff and Randy on Miz TV and tried to get them to fight each other, which of course ended up leading to a tag match with that Miz lost. And Randy ended up RKOing, I think, everybody. So
he even RK'd the ring, but that's neither here nor there. This was interesting to me. Does it do anything different for the Jeff Hardy Randy Orton U.S. Championship match, which I think was the focus of this?
It was, and especially what was interesting to me is that Miz's partner in the tag match was Shelton Benjamin, who has been inserting himself into the U.S. title picture. Now, he's obviously not in the match on Sunday, but he has been involved, and as he said this week, he did have a win on Randy Orton.
Yeah.
So I would like to see him be involved in this going forward. Having the 4 of these guys involved in the U.S. title picture, I think would be great.
So you think now, once Miz gets past the Intercontinental Championship rematch on Sunday, he then inserts into the U.S. Championship picture?
I think we have 4 guys in the U.S. title picture. Again, which I know we just had, but this is an interesting dynamic between these 4. Obviously, 3 of these guys have been feuding since 2004.
Yeah.
But still, I still think it's not the worst thing they could do with this title.
I don't know if I want to take Miz out away from the focus of the Intercontinental Championship just yet, but I think ultimately you might be right. We're probably not going to get him back into that Intercontinental picture until later in the year.
Yeah, they're going to hold off on
I've
that.
resolved myself to that at this point.
And they're not going to put him right away with Daniel Bryan either. They're going to long play that as well. As he said in the segment where Daniel Bryan's now banned from Miz TV for a while.
That's a SummerSlam match.
Exactly. That's their way of indicating they're going to let it go for a while, and we're just going to have Miz do something else, which I think we saw here. And finally, the big thing we have to talk about on this show, the main event.
Yes.
Which I liked. I liked the fact that we had a women's main event and no one made reference to the fact that it was a big deal. It just was.
It was just there.
It was just there.
And it was fantastic.
And it was a fantastic match. The Iconics and Carmella, the champ, versus Charlotte and Becky and Asuka.
Now, I want to give a little bit of shine to the Iconics for getting thrown right at three of your most over women in Charlotte, Becky, and Asuka. Like, wow, what an opportunity to get... And you're teaming up with the champ.
The roster isn't that deep, really, for the women on SmackDown right now. Pretty much, who else is there?
Well, they all went to Raw.
Lana and Naomi are the only other women at this point, and Tamina's injured.
Right.
So that's it.
Thankfully.
So, and Absolution, which we'll talk about in a second, too. But that's the thing, is in this match, of course the Iconics went right into this feud. They were ready to go in NXT for the last year.
Yeah.
And they were just waiting for the right time to bring them up because they knew they were just going to get shot to the moon. Because they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. Look at their work on the mic. Look at their work in the ring. In this match especially. This was a fantastic match in large part because of all the women's chemistry and timing. Everyone was where they were supposed to be when they were supposed to be, sold well, moved quickly. Everyone got their moment to shine. It was a well-paced, well-booked match, and a large part of that is because everyone in this can work. And we haven't seen Carmella work in so long because of the Money in the Bank briefcase. It was nice to see her back and having some real fun with this too.
By the way, there is a thought that we believe. We want to put this out there to our fans and listeners, especially the New Japan fans. We believe that there might be some sort of conspiracy where Carmella is actually Naito Girl.
Ref!
Yeah. Ref! And it sounds a lot like Naito!
It does a little bit.
It's kind of, you could...
I mean, where was she for the last year?
Yeah, I don't know.
She could have been in Osaka.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Yep.
But yeah, just compared to Raw, where they also had a 3-on-3 match, how much better was this match because of just in the last couple of weeks, like they didn't have to have much history, but all of these women had some sort of beef with each other.
Yeah.
Right? There was enough heat to create some fun and some tension. And then you had the way that they all interacted in here was just so much more interesting and so much more exciting than the 3-on-3 we had on Raw.
The only one that threw me was we just came off of WrestleMania with Charlotte and Asuka having that match, and here we are 3 weeks later, and they're already tag teaming together as super baby faces on TV. So
but they had an explanation for that. They had all of the respect that Charlotte and Asuka showed each other at the end of the match, and then after the match, if you watched like the WWE.com and YouTube and all that, they had a lot of promos from both women putting each other over, and so they did fill in that gap. There was no gap filled with Strowman and Roman. We have no reason to know why they are working together and why they're now chill with each other. You know what I mean? There's no reason for that.
He's going to come out to rescue Roman after he threw him into an ambulance.
There's a reason that Charlotte and Becky they're best friends, and Asuka and Charlotte are cool after their match. They respect each other until Asuka turns heel.
Yeah,
just saying, just throwing that out there.
This is what this setup is all for, ladies and gentlemen.
That's my suspicion. And then you've established that Carmella and the Iconics are on the same page because the Iconics cost Charlotte the title.
Yes.
And let Carmella cash in. So there's a reason for both teams to be together. There's a reason for both teams to not like each other. Yep. Just much better all around.
Well, you mentioned Braun. I just wanted to throw it out there. Braun, if you're listening, we ran across this picture of you this week that would look like you were a San Diego State frat bro jock.
Before the beard.
And the undercut long ponytail.
What we're saying is keep the beard.
Keep the beard, dude.
We
keep
like
that
the
long
beard.
undercut. I would promise you that Camilla will like that a lot more.
If you can grow the beard, keep the beard.
If you can grow that kind of beard, you should have that beard.
Speaking as someone who has a monstrous beard over their neck, and speaking of myself as someone who can't grow a beard better than a 13-year-old, I have to say, yes, if you can grow a beard, absolutely keep the beard. In other women's news on SmackDown, Absolution, who we just mentioned, was officially disbanded by Paige. We speculated on what was going to happen now that Paige was a face manager on SmackDown. Well, we saw it this week. She and Mandy and Sonya had a great backstage segment where they had this great interaction with each other, where they felt, it felt like you had history with them. They were friends. They had a connection. And then they wanted to, the two girls from Absolution wanted to have a championship match and wanted to get some favors from Paige. And Paige was like, that's not how it works here. Mandy, you have a match against Becky next week. And by the way, Absolution's no more. You're officially disbanded. And there's this great awkward moment afterwards. And I was like, that's the most elegant way in 2 minutes to put a cap on this particular plot.
Yep.
Like, good. You just gave us all the plot we needed in 2 minutes. Boom. Now we can move forward with all three of these characters.
Yes.
Well
And
done.
There was a part of me when they first walked in that was like, oh, they're going to do it. They're going to start getting favors from Paige and start, coming to the ring together and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, nope. I was very surprised.
It was very quick. It was very clean. We're not having any ambiguity on this. 1, 2, 3, boom. It's done. We are also seeing some build for a New Day versus Bar kind of feud going on here. We had the Bar and the New Day face off against each other backstage. The Bar threw the New Day's pancakes away.
You don't do that.
After what was their butler's name? Mr. Butworth or whatever. Mr. Booty?
Mr. Booty Pants or
Mr.
something.
Booty Pants.
Yep.
And as they were presenting the pancakes, Big E started oiling himself up, which was beyond disturbing, but also hilarious. And then Sheamus challenged Xavier Woods to a match, which Xavier won on a surprise roll-up. So round 1 to the New Day. How do you think about this feud going forward?
I'm not sold on it yet because I'm not as big a fan of the Bar as you are. So I enjoy the New Day and the comedy stuff that goes on, but know that they can get in the ring and work a match as good as any other tag team that's been there. But I'm not completely sold on the Bar yet, so I don't know. I liked this match with Xavier and Sheamus. It was fine.
I look forward to you saying that you enjoy their feud as the weeks go on.
Absolutely. Am I going to like it as much as New Day Usos last year?
Oh well, I mean,
they set the bar pretty high,
so to speak. Hey, all right, well done, buddy. Speaking of the Usos, they were nowhere to be found this week, but which was strange, but I guess makes sense. There's really nowhere to go right now before Backlash with them. But
they just did have a match with the Usos as well, or with the Bludgeon Brothers
in Jeddah. Yeah,
so,
and they don't really want to rematch
They're
this
off
quickly.
for a week.
But here's the thing. We did have a very brief segment with Rusev Day, and we need to talk about this. I know we're running a little long, but we need to talk about this really quickly because this is setting up for some very weird stuff. We had Rusev and Aiden backstage discussing things, and who should show up but Lana. And Lana
in a Rusev Day t-shirt.
In a Rusev Day t-shirt, and Aiden goes and steps aside and lets them have their moment. And Lana says, Rusev Day, that's great and all, but you're kind of coming up short. You just lost to The Undertaker, and it's not really going as well as you think it is. And Rusev's like, what are you saying? She's like, well, I think you're being held back. And he goes, what do you mean, held back by who? And Aiden pops back in and goes, oh, sorry, forgot my jacket.
Camera move.
Forgot my jacket, and takes off. And Lana gives Rusev a meaningful look. Now, implication here is, first of all, I should be excited because, yes, Lana and Rusev back together. Fantastic. Awesome. Rusev, crush. I can't wait. Great. But now it looks like she's going to break up Rusev Day.
No.
Before they even have a chance to go face and really turn into all of the goodwill that they have, we're going to have some weird Festival of Friendship like breakup angle. Some Piper's barbershop or Beefcake's barbershop breaking up breaking up the tag team thing going on with Rusev Day.
That's funny.
I don't know how I feel about this, man. Like, Aiden is such an integral part of the Rusev Day formula with his singing, with the introduction and everything. He's the guy I think who even coined it in the first place. And if he is no longer with Rusev Day, he's going to go down to enhancement land toot sweet. I mean, I don't like this for a lot of reasons.
Yep.
I'm nervous as hell about this 45-second bit I saw this week on SmackDown Live with Rusev Day. What are you doing?
I am scared that they are just wanting to get the gorgeous, ravishing Lana back on TV and try to slot her in as Rusev's sidekick within this Rusev Day heat that is going on and sacrifice Aiden. And that is my biggest fear because Vince likes tall blondes.
Yeah.
That's really what as simple as
this
this comes down to.
And they're finally over the heat that they had for going off and getting married. So I
don't like this one bit. You guys know how much I like Aiden English. He's a lot of fun to watch in the ring. He works really well. And as you were saying, the singing gimmick stuff is, if I remember right, he got the key from the mayor, I'm doing air quotes, of his hometown last year at some point, and that was the beginning of this whole thing. Plovdiv, thank you.
Yep.
So it's been going for so long, and it's gotten itself over so organically, and they're just to get...
this is going to be...
It's going to be ruined.
They're going to go down to history as having dropped the ball on a pretty big thing here. Yeah. Taking the money from the shirts and running. And I'm nervous. We'll see where this goes. All right, Nick, we're done with both of the main shows for WWE here. That means that it's time to do our picks for Backlash, which is coming up.
For a card that I couldn't be much less excited about.
We've done this before. We see the card and we're like, and then we get some good stuff out of it.
Yeah.
This is a card I'm looking at and I'm like, we could see some fun stuff here.
It could be.
I'm really curious, actually, what's going to be the main event. What's going to be the final match on the card.
I think a prop bet might be necessary on that one.
We might have to do a prop bet for this, where if it's AJ versus Shinsuke or Roman versus Samoa Joe, or the dark horse, Charlotte versus Carmella.
Ooh.
So we'll see about that. So let's start off I'm just going to run down these kind of randomly. Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. Who do you have in this one?
I don't see any way Daniel Bryan loses this, but I do see how much they're pushing Big Cass. So you're going to hear this a lot from me on this card. There's a lot of coin flips on this card. This is one of them for me to really kick things off. I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan winning this. It just really makes the childish Healy stuff of Big Cass come out more, embroils the feud a little bit more, and this goes all the way to Money in the Bank. I think Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I think this might go to Money in the Bank, but if so, I think Cass wins this and Bryan pulls it out eventually, hence the underdog thing.
Yeah, okay.
So I think Cass ends up cheating and beating him down and takes this match. Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. Who do you have?
I don't see him taking it off of Nia yet, so I'm going to stick with Nia. I do like what we were talking about earlier, where this could eventually lead to some action between Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey, maybe as soon as SummerSlam if we get going with some of that stuff. So I'm going to stick with Nia for now. And Alexa's doing fine. She doesn't need a title.
I agree. She doesn't need the title right now. That being said, I'm going to pick Nia too. I'll give that caveat before I say this. I could see Alexa pick it back up only because I don't know what other heels you really have on Monday in the women's division to come after Nia other than Alexa. I really don't. The only thing I could see is that Nia holds it to Money in the Bank and then gets a cash in sometime early in the summer where someone else picks it up. But again, I don't know who that would be.
You're
at this
right.
point.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, but again, I'm going to say Nia because I just don't think they should take it off of her just yet. It would be too short of a reign. That being said, never stopped them from taking it off of Sasha. So Strowman and Lashley teaming up to face off against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in the absolute what the F match.
Exactly. Neither of these teams can lose. That's the weird part. They both need wins. They both. It's a question of who can eat the pin. And I honestly think that KO and Sammy can eat the pin more than Strowman and Lashley. Strowman doesn't need anything, but Lashley really does. He needs some help. So I'm going to call Strowman and Lashley here more because of that than me just being a straight Braun Strowman mark and a little bit of a Bobby Lashley. But they need it more than KO and Sammy.
I don't even know that they need it. I think Kevin Owens and Sammy need to win pretty desperately, especially over such a monster team like this. I just don't see how they get it.
Yeah,
I don't see any way they beat these two guys, given how strong both of them have been booked. And I think both of them, I think Lashley, I agree, he needs a signature win. And I just don't see Strowman or Lashley lying down for these guys.
No.
I even if you have shenanigans or whatever, I could see this match getting thrown out somehow, DQ, or I don't see Kevin Owens and Sammy winning this clean. So
I see shenaniganry happening in this match.
Yeah, but I don't see them winning this clean by any stretch, even with, if you bring in some, I see it like I said, a DQ.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still say Strowman and Lashley just because I can't see Kevin Owens and Sammy winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, next up we got Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton for the U.S. title. How about you go first on this one?
Man, this is a tough one. This is a coin flip because I think they put it on Jeff Hardy just to get the title off of Raw, and I could easily see them putting it back on Randy. This is a tough one. I'm just going to say Jeff just because. Literally just because.
I'll say Randy then, because
Yeah.
this is the coin flip one.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
There's no way to tell here. Randy doesn't have short feuds, so if they're building this long term, I think you put it back on Randy and Jeff Chases, and maybe,
like I said,
maybe you get Gender involved or something like that.
The only reason I
or
think
not Gender. Who was I thinking of?
Miz or Shelton.
Benjamin.
Yeah, again, I think this is going to become a 4-way or a 3-way dance as the months go on here. So it could be on Randy or Jeff for that. I just see Jeff because Randy stood tall on SmackDown. That's the only reason I can think of. Charlotte versus Carmella for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Who do you have here?
Either Champion's advantage comes into play in this match. Obviously, there's no stipulation, so I see Carmella somehow chicken shit healing it out and retaining the championship. She just got it 2 weeks ago. There's no way they're going to flip it now.
I would tend to agree with you, especially because in addition, she does have the Iconics lurking in the wings, and also because, again, Charlotte stood way tall,
big time
on SmackDown Live with her after Asuka just cleaned house and picked up the win for their team. Charlotte ends up coming out of the ring and Carmella's cringing at the top of the ramp. Carmella's winning on Sunday.
Yeah. It's too much fun right now with her having the belt and everything else happening around her.
Yes,
I love that kind of setup. Hey, next up we got Miz versus Seth Rollins for the what we'll call the Intercontinental Blow-Off match. You know, who you got here?
They're blowing this off. Seth Rollins, easy.
Yep. Yeah, they can't take the title back to SmackDown Live at this point, so it's got to be Seth.
No real discussion necessary, but we do have to discuss this next one. AJ versus Shinsuke, no DQ for the WWE Championship. Do they finally pull the trigger on Shinsuke here? Does he pull it out here?
I want to say yes because they need to. And I think that I've been thinking about this one all week long, and when I heard they made it a no disqualification match, I think that plays into his favor, and I think he does get the championship here. It's nowhere near. This is literally like chapter 2 of this entire feud, which is going to go on, what I think, for throughout the rest of the year in various fashions. So, yeah, I'm calling Nakamura here to take it.
I have been wrong on every AJ Styles Nakamura match so far, so I think I may be wrong again here. I'm going to pick AJ simply because I can see it being more interesting having a feud with him as the champ versus Samoa Joe and Nakamura chasing. But and then also if Nakamura does step aside after this, then we have a little interlude with Joe. I see AJ retaining here, but it's a very, very strong possibility. Another coin flip, if you will,
yes,
that Nakamura could pick it up. And in some ways, I'm picking AJ just because it seems that whatever I pick, it's the opposite. So hopefully I'm wrong. And my being wrong means that Nakamura is the champ, and I'll be completely happy with that because that's going to be fun as hell. Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe in the Who Gives a Crap match. Who do you got this?
I don't know. I hate that these guys are on different brands because I literally liked this feud. I've been touting my Samoan feud thing for 8 months now.
And now it's down the tubes. You get one match, buddy.
Roman goes over.
Yep, I am going to agree with you on that. I think that Roman gets his wins back from WrestleMania and from Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yep. Samoa goes on to feud on SmackDown Live for the WWE Championship. He's fine.
He has to go and win whatever first feud he's in on SmackDown. He's got to win it and look legit. But I think they're gonna have Roman go over him here to be able to stay strong on Monday. Anyone who thinks that Roman's not still the man did not watch Raw this week, where he was the center of attention. 3 people came out like, I want to have a match with Roman Reigns for no reason other than he was Roman Reigns. If you think that Roman Reigns is not still the centerpiece, you have not been watching. I'm so bored with Roman Reigns. Make it stop.
All right, so at the top of our picks, I said we needed to do a prop bet for which match goes last, and it's Roman versus Samoa Joe, AJ versus Shinsuke, or the wild card. Do they pull out the Charlotte versus Carmella SmackDown Live Women's Championship match here, or do we have to throw in the Nia and Alexa Bliss match as a possibility as well?
I'm not going to say Nia and Alexa because Charlotte is still the A-lister as far as the women's division. If anyone's going to go last, it will be Charlotte. However, the only way they'll do that is if they really want to apologize for not having any women in Jeddah, and I don't think that they're smart enough to do that because that would be seen as a complete gimme if they did that.
I don't think they did anything wrong.
That too. It's going to, in my opinion, it's between AJ, Shinsuke, and Roman Samoa Joe. Who I think they should put on last is AJ Shinsuke. That's the one I think should go on last. Will it go on last? Again, it's a damn coin flip, and it really is going to come down to if they want to put their championship on top or if they want to put Roman on top. And that could really go either way. Coin flip. Damn you for making me answer this first, because I was going to go opposite whatever you said.
Oh, really? Okay.
I was, just to make it interesting.
I'm going to throw a curveball. That's why I'm making you do it first.
Oh, geez. You're going to go Charlotte Carmel, aren't you?
Nope.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, then I will... You know what? I'm going to go against what I normally do. I normally am pragmatic. This time I'm going to go hopeful, and I will say AJ and Shinsuke.
Okay. I'm going to say Roman and Samoa Joe is going to be the quote-unquote, air quotes, main event or last match of the night, because I have seen them in the past do this where they might open up with the championship match. So I'm thinking they might pull a curveball on us and open up with AJ and Shinsuke to start the night.
I'm going to be so amused if Roman and Joe start the thing.
Oh, but because this is a smaller scale pay-per-view in the midst of everything between WrestleMania and Money in the Bank over the course of that 60 days, I think they might swerve us here. I've seen them do it in the past year once or twice. I think we're going to get it to open up. So I'm going to say Roman and Joe closes out the night.
Well, all right then. Those are our picks. We've got a lot more to talk about and not a lot of times. Let's head on over and talk about the wide world of wrestling.
Well, kicking things off with NXT, we started things off with Kairi Sane coming out to face off against someone we haven't seen since the Mae Young Classic, Shazza McKenzie.
Yeah, not impressed with Shazza here. They say she's been doing this for a long time. I did not like. I didn't like the way her work here. A lot of her punches seemed very weak and soft, and there's no oomph behind her moves. Luckily it was a squash match.
It was just to get to Lacey Evans.
Just to get Lacey Evans coming out and reigniting her feud with Kairi Sane, which I'm all about seeing again. She comes out, decks Kairi. Great, we're back in that. Also, we had Candice LeRae bemoaning Johnny Gargano not being, him still being injured. We don't have a timetable for his return, quote unquote. And her moping backstage in a pretty well acted segment, I have to say.
Yeah.
But then having a match against Bianca Belair, who is, they build as a monster on a regular day, and then this one they built that Candice LeRae her mind wasn't in it because of her husband.
Sure.
So Bianca crushed her.
Literally deadlifted her off the ground.
That was an incredible strength spot.
If you did not see that on NXT this week, that's one of those strength spots you have to just see. It's Lars Sullivan picking somebody huge up, equivalent of that. She literally picked her up off the ground and put her up in the air.
Yeah,
wow.
over her head.
Wow.
It was great. Bianca Belair, definitely keep an eye on her. We say that all the time. In the tag division, TM61 had a match against Street Profits. The interesting thing about this, TM61 appearing to turn heel, getting the feet on the ropes.
We've lost AOP and we've lost Sanity, so we need them.
Then they'd be and we've lost Sabatelli and Moss. So true. TM61 could be now the new slimy heel team that Sabatelli and Moss once were. They put their feet on the ropes for the win over Street Profits. I'm liking this decision.
Yep. Hey, next up we had a promo with Cassius Ohno backstage, who was wearing a Minoru Suzuki t-shirt.
Thank you.
Props, Cassius. Props. Talking about how dastardly Tommaso Ciampa is. And so apparently next week now we're going to get a match between Tommaso Ciampa and Cassius Ohno.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Ohno putting over Ciampa something fierce.
Yes.
Also next week we have EC3 versus Raul Mendoza. Raul Mendoza is fantastic. He's massively underrated. The guy can work, and he's going to put over EC3, but he'll put him over in a really good match.
Yes.
I'm calling it now.
We're calling it NX3 now, by the way.
No, we're not.
Okay. No, we're not going to do that.
We're not calling it NX3. EC3 is calling NX3. I am not. I'm also not entirely hyped about the debut of Kona Reeves, the re-debut.
Yeah.
He's back with a bit of a new gimmick. He's got the size, he's got the look. I liked there was a bit of a disconnect where, his promo video made him look like this kind of like sleazy, happy-go-lucky guy. And he comes out looking like an 80s real estate agent on coke. And then is super aggressive in the ring against the poor jobber they had, a Patrick Scott.
Two first name
jobber they have. And just beats the crap out of him and frankly did not look that great.
Well, I'm not completely down on him. I think if he spends a year in the Performance Center, cuts up a little bit, puts a little bit more size on, he could be in there with the 285 guys that are in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, so. I think he's definitely needs to get some time in the Performance Center. There's something there. I'm not saying there's not. Yeah. The guy definitely has something there, but I think there's a lot of progress that needs to be made with him before I'm going to really buy in. Dakota Kai had a promo saying that she's still scared of Baszler. Vanessa Bourne comes in to talk smack. They had a little bit of a heated thing. So we're looking like Dakota Kai has kind of the monster on her shoulder with Baszler. We're going to have a long build towards that. But her first stop is Vanessa Bourne. I'm hoping Kai can get a good match out of Vanessa Bourne if they're going to do this. Right now, I'm on the fence about this feud.
Yeah, me too. I think this is. I'm not completely sold on the whole emo Dakota Kai with the black hair and the choker necklaces and all of that stuff.
That's
and,
fine.
Trying stuff. This is the place to do it, but it's still not jiving for me.
I don't see it as the emo thing. I see it more as kind of the beaten up, like kind of shy.
Okay,
like
sure.
the wallflower girl in school who the bully is beating up, and she's got to find herself to get it. It's fine. I don't mind this at all. I think they're going to go good places with it. I trust where they will go with this. But speaking of a feud that I am all about, we had a match tonight. Pete Dunne getting his revenge against Roderick Strong, who betrayed him at the finals of the Dusty Classic, left him lying and joined the Undisputed Era. Why, Roddy? Why? Why, Roddy? I love Roderick Strong as a heel. Can I just put that out there right now?
I can't wait to have cameras in here so you guys can see Ian, how animated he gets sometimes. This was amazing, and one of the things I want to call out is Roderick Strong's entrance. He comes out to his traditional music, which sounds like a Killswitch Engage track or something.
A good one.
Goes down to his hands and knees, and they cut to the Undisputed Shock the System, and he stands back up, almost as to reveal himself from the cocoon.
Yeah,
he is now the heel cocoon. He's gone through the metamorphosis.
I'm a beautiful heel butterfly.
Yes.
Hello.
And he is. Oh my God! Who knew that turning Roddy heel would be as good as it is?
I don't know. Everybody who's ever asked for a bland babyface to turn heel, everyone ever. That's who knew. Roderick is, of course, like everyone else, is just so much better as a heel. He's fantastic. He's slimy. And this was a fantastic match. Pete Dunne is great as a babyface because he is the ass kicker tweener babyface.
Yes.
He's the guy who you don't want to get on his bad side. And his mannerisms and the aggression that he had in this match was spot on.
Yep.
This is exactly what this match should have been. Pete Dunne, the badass motherfucker, coming out for his revenge.
And he hits him with the bitter end, going down for the 3 count. And of course, Undisputed Era comes into the ring, gets involved, breaks it up, match disqualified. And then Birch and Lorcan come out to back up Pete Dunne.
Fantastic.
So now we have the UK trio.
Well, no, because no. Lorcan's American.
Oh, okay.
But still, he always makes me think of a UK guy because he's so stiff.
All right, he looks like an Irishman.
He does a little bit. Yeah. Lorcan, Dunne, and Birch lined up against Undisputed Era. Bring it on. We only have like 5 weeks until TakeOver. I could see this building into a 3-on-3 match. We don't need to have the tag titles on up for grabs yet. We don't have to have the American title. Let that be on Adam Cole for a while.
Yeah,
cool. 3-on-3. I'm in.
Or watch out for Lars Sullivan. He's coming. I'm just saying. Look, there was also a poll on WWE.com for Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's stipulation.
The ultimate stipulation for the next big blow-off match.
And one of them on there, which we haven't seen since the Attitude Era, was the 3 Stages of Hell match.
Have we not seen it since the Attitude Era?
That. It's
really?
It was Stone Cold and Triple H, wasn't it?
One of my favorite matches of all time, by the way.
It is in a massive lead in this poll online with 56% of the votes last time we looked. Are you looking right now to see what it's at?
Yeah, there's only been 4 ever. Triple H versus Stone Cold in 2001, which is one of my favorite ones ever. And then it was Triple H versus Shawn Michaels in 2002. Randy Orton versus Triple H in 2009.
Oh, there was more. Okay.
And this is one I had no idea even existed, was John Cena versus Ryback in 2013. I don't know. I think I'm sorry. I'm not sorry I missed that one.
Yeah.
I am not sorry I missed that one at all.
I don't really care about that one. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that there were. I knew
there's
that
only
there
been
was 2.
4. There's only been 4 in history. I would like the 5th to be Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, with the style that the original Steve Austin Triple H one was, because they all had 3 different matches. First fall, second fall, third, best of 3, right? The Stone Cold Triple H one was standard match, and then a street fight, and then a steel cage. And that's just beautiful escalation.
Not just cage, Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. And it was what was great about that match, and we're getting down a rabbit hole here, was that you had the grappler in Triple H, and then you had the brawler in Stone Cold, and they switched styles. Stone Cold won the grappler match, and Triple H won the brawler match, and that was a great storytelling thing. Anyway, love to see. Right now, that's in the lead on WWE.com with more than half the votes, and there's like 9 options. So hopefully they take the fans' advice and make it a 3 stages of hell match.
Yes. So let's head over and talk about 205 Live. The last thing that happened on the main or in the WWE this week. Kira Tozawa, Hideo Itami faced off against the returning gentleman Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick.
Well, the returning Brian Kendrick. Gallagher's been around just kind of a little bit on the sidelines, but Kendrick is back from injury, sustained at the hands of Hideo Itami, and they definitely had some good grudge action going on in this match. The talking point here is that after the match, so Itami accidentally hits the ropes while Tozawa was on the top, caused him to crotch himself and lose the match. After the match, Itami smacks Tozawa in the face and walks away, and Tozawa sits there looking like a hurt little puppy.
It's so sad.
And he's such a sad face. Oh, he's such a sad little guy when he's sad. But yeah, so Itami looking like he's going heel. Great.
Yes.
He is so much better as a heel.
Yes.
And having a feud between these two guys would be, I think, the best option for both guys.
Next up, we had Buddy Murphy coming out and murdering. Oh, it took 10 seconds. I think it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what his
This
name was.
is what you should do in a squash match.
Yes.
Where Buddy Murphy comes out, there's some strikes exchanged. Buddy Murphy gets mad and power bombs this poor jobber named Liam Lewis. He
Another 2 first namer.
Power bombs him 3 times in a row, vicious power bombs, and then goes for the cover, and then moves out of the cover, so gives up the cover.
Yep.
And then the ref determines that Lewis is out. He's KO'd.
God, he's killed it.
He's just dead.
Yep.
And Buddy Murphy wins by match stoppage, which makes Murphy look like a killer. And then as he leaves, Cedric comes out of the back and jumps him. Because Murphy obviously has a title shot, and Cedric's just sick of Buddy Murphy being an asshole.
And I love the very baby face thing of just confronting him head on. I think they even had a press or a backstage thing.
Afterwards, Cedric said, "Buddy Murphy was to
beautiful.
stab me in the back. I'm going to come out and face him in the face. Like,
Absolutely,
I'll come out and get in his face.
This is going to be great."
What's great was the match between Gulak and Kalisto. Drew Gulak and Kalisto had the main event match this week. It was fantastic. Nice, long building match. Gulak basically stretching Kalisto every which way from Sunday for the first half of this match and just finding some just absolutely disgusting ways to make this man's body contort. Tries to pull off Kalisto's mask. Kalisto gets mad, and then everything picks up the pace. At the end, though, Drew Gulak wins, counters a move into the Dragon Sleeper, and again bends Kalisto in freaking half. I love how flexible Kalisto is because he makes selling moves look just vicious. Like
especially these submission moves.
Yeah, remember when Rusev got him in the Accolade and literally like almost lay on his back? He was bending him back so far, like Kalisto was going to pop in half. Great, it's great, and Gulak gets his win back here over Kalisto. He's a perfect opponent for Drew Gulak. Makes Gulak look strong. I don't know where Gulak's going to go after this, who he's going to feud with. I think he should be in the title picture eventually.
Not yet, though.
But not yet, no. I think at some point he would be a great, scary heel champion.
We do have a match next week. I believe it's Mustafa Ali with Buddy Murphy, right?
Yeah, Mustafa Ali, Buddy Murphy.
Essentially your number 1 contenders match to go after Cedric.
Yeah, put it on notice right now for the match of the week.
Yes.
Right now.
That's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. Speaking of fantastic, we do have to get to New Japan. And we had a lot of stuff happen in the last week with New Japan. We had Wrestling Hinokuni. We had some Road to Dontaku matches, Road to Wrestling Dontaku matches. There's some quick notes I want to point out. Juice Robinson had a match, a never open weight challenge for against Hiroki Goto. Fantastic match. Our boy Juice is coming along beautifully in New Japan. He's learning how to work a long form match. Find all the nuances, and Goto, by the way, is having a renaissance as well.
If this keeps up, he's one of my long shots for the G1 this year. I just want to say that.
I don't think he's a long shot. I think he's definitely in the contention for the G1. It's a great place for them to springboard guys. Yep. I could absolutely see Juice. It was his coming out last year. I could see this one being the one where they really kind of put the mark on him.
Yep.
If he decides that he wants to stay with New Japan, which I think would be the best for him now. But that was on April 27th in Hiroshima, if you want to go back and find that match. We got to talk about Wrestling Hinokuni because we had an Intercontinental Championship match. I did not even watch this show live until I heard what happened. I had to go back and watch it because I was like, nothing's really going to happen. Wrong! We had an Intercontinental Championship match. Obviously Minoru Suzuki, your Intercontinental Champion, facing off against Tetsuya Naito. When I watched this match, I knew the outcome. I couldn't believe Naito would win this match, but he did. I mean, Minoru Suzuki put his leg behind his own head. It was disgusting what that man did to Naito's body. But Naito ends up pulling off the win, gets the Destino and gets the win. Naito is your new IC champ. I feel like Minoru just got this title
Like 2 weeks ago.
And Naito is not exactly a guy who's known for having a whole lot of respect for the Intercontinental Championship. The last time he held it last year, before Tanahashi took it off of him, he literally destroyed the belt.
Tried to buy sushi with it.
He tried to buy stuff with it at the convenience store. He
Yeah.
was like smashing it on the ground. He would just throw it in the ring in front of him. Why are you giving this man this belt again? He's already said in a press conference he's not going to take it with him anywhere. He feels like it's a demotion for him to have this belt. So I was really confused about why they would put this belt on Naito until I remembered that Chris Jericho is a troll. And he has been saying publicly that he's done with New Japan, that he will not be working any more shows with them. Lies. I promise you right now, he is coming back at Dominion for his match with Naito that he started setting up earlier this year. That just kind of went nowhere. Jericho, mark my words. Jericho's coming back to New Japan, and he's going to have a match with Naito, probably at Dominion.
For the Intercontinental
For the
Championship.
IC belt.
Wow.
Yeah, they wanted to put a belt on this. I'm calling it right now.
That will certainly be interesting. Hey, we also had day one of Wrestling Dontaku with Bullet Club just continuing to implode. Everything is going wrong over there.
Yeah, it's the Civil War right now. The Young Bucks and Marty Scurll just beat Tongaloa, Tamatonga, and Bad Luck Fale for the Never Six-Man Tag Championships. You had Cody beating Kota Ibushi in their one-on-one match. Cody got put through one of those Japanese tables.
Yeah.
And by put through, I mean he literally went through the middle, but his head and his legs were still on the outside of the table.
Oh.
I'm sure it got cut to crap. It just looked ugly. Those Japanese tables are evil.
Yeah, they're not the little card tables we're used to in the WWE. They're about an inch thick of solid wood.
They've got the weak ass chairs, the chairs that are made of Kleenex, and then the tables that are made of iron.
Yeah.
The opposite of here. And then of course Kenny Omega had a match with Hangman Page, where I thought he actually legit knocked out Hangman with some of those V-trigger knees. They went stiff. They went stiff on that, but Kenny picks up the win there. So they're trading wins over in this thing. We've got day 2 of Wrestling Dontaku tonight. So I can't report on it yet. We'll talk about it next week, but we got some big matches. The junior heavyweight matches tonight, Kushida versus Will Ospreay, which I can't wait for, especially because Ospreay is mostly healthy again. And he has a new finisher that maybe he saw Avengers. He's calling Stormbreaker, which is, I'm sick of the Oz Cutter. I'm glad he's doing this. The Oz Cutter is not the best finishing move in the world, and it's tough for him to pull off and make it look good. The new finisher is difficult to describe. It's a very Will Ospreay. It's a corkscrew neck breaker or like a corkscrew cutter.
Interesting.
You have to see it. It's like Buddy Murphy's fish hook thing, where you see it and you go, "What did I just even see?"
Yeah.
I think
is he doing this off the top rope?
It's in the middle of the ring.
Corkscrew
It's
flip
in the middle of the ring
into essentially an RKO.
It's not
neck
off
breaker.
the ropes, so it looks real great. But watch that match, and I have a feeling you'll see it because I'm calling Ospreay to pick up the win. And we have match number 11, the 11th time Tanahashi and Okada will face off for the IWGP Heavyweight Belt.
Dun dun dun.
Cannot see Okada losing here.
No.
If they put it on, if Tanahashi wins the rubberiest of rubber matches here, I will be shocked beyond belief.
But no titles on the line, correct?
No, both of those are title matches.
Oh, they are title.
That's what I'm
okay.
saying. Those are both title matches. So big deal, big deal. Another New Japan news: 5 years of Bullet Club as of today. It's been 5 years since Bad Luck Fale, Tamatonga, Carl Anderson, and at the time Prince Devitt, also known as Finn Balor. It's been 5 years exactly since they first two-sweeted each other and formed the Bullet Club, one of the biggest stables in modern wrestling.
As it disintegrates into history as we speak, right?
Well, 5 years on, I mean, how long can you keep a stable going?
Right.
In other New Japan news, Cow Palace. They're coming to the Cow Palace with their G1 special. I would like to go, which it looks like we might still be able to. Their tickets are not selling well. They only sold 3,300 tickets out of 10,000 on the first day.
Wow.
Largely because they haven't really announced a card, but the New Japan brass are apparently nervous about this, and so they're now saying they're going to get some really big names to try and jump sales. So might try and buy some tickets in the next week and go on a little pilgrimage up to the Bay Area to watch another one. I think they screwed themselves over with having Strong Style Evolve down here and having kind of a mediocre card.
Yeah.
And everyone's nervous. They already had people flying out here for that, so now people are getting double tapped on this. So we'll see what they do with that.
Well, we've got some other news before we get out of here that we've got to go through our sort of lightning round that we do at the end of every show. But look, let's kick things off. Maybe not so much in the lightning round, but there has been some fallout throughout this week off the back of the Greatest Royal Rumble last weekend. You guys heard us say all of pretty much what we had to say on our preview or our recap earlier this week. But Wrestling Observer News has reported that Corey Graves may have some backstage heat due to one of his Instagram posts.
Yeah, Corey Graves posted a picture of a cocktail he was having at his house, and he says, "A drink to remember that no matter how bad we think we have it, at least our women have rights and we all have freedom of expression. Hashtag if you get it, you get it." He posted this on the Monday after the Greatest Royal Rumble, this last Monday. Yeah, so Corey might have a little heat for that, for going against the company line, albeit somewhat, well, I was going to say somewhat subtly. It ain't that subtle. But that being said, props to Corey for bucking the man, even while you're with a company that will fire you on a moment's notice, even though you are the greatest commentator they have going right now, which he inarguably, I think, is. I could see why he would have a little bit of heat for that, because they're doing such a big job of trying to put over Saudi Arabia and make themselves look good in the process. And so having any kind of dissension is going to throw that under the bus. In addition, because to speak to that, you may have noticed that Sami Zayn was not at the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Nor was his name spoken at all.
Nor was his name even spoken. And that's because his name apparently, according to Jerry Lawler, was not allowed to be spoken. They actually had a handbook on what things they could not say on that broadcast, including mentioning any of the women by name or the fact that they even had women wrestlers, and they couldn't mention the fact that Sami Zayn was there. So now, not only and they haven't, Sami has apparently not been told why he was not brought to the show. He's been given no real reason. They've not made any kind of press announcement about it. The only and frankly, the last time they were in Saudi Arabia was, I think, in 2014. Sami was in NXT. He might have been the champ, and he wrestled. So there's been no problem in the past. But so we don't know if they asked for Sami not to come or if they just didn't want to make any waves, because as we've mentioned, Sami is a Syrian Muslim ethnically.
Yep.
So if it comes out at any point that Saudi Arabia, that WWE bowed to the Saudi wishes to not either have women, or they were excluding people because of gender or because of ethnicity, this is only going to get worse. So right now it's looking bad.
Well, hey, some good news off the back of that. He did do a fundraiser for Syria that has been doing it, that has now surpassed $100,000. This is
for
awesome.
Medical supplies for Syria.
Yes.
So of Syria, a country where Saudi weapons are bombing. Not the only ones, but just anyway, it's all ugly. It's all gross. Let's get back to wrestling. But first, before we get back to wrestling, I'm going to talk about more Greatest Royal Rumble news. Arya Davari, who obviously came out and said, "I'm Iranian and, screw Saudi Arabia." They had a little segment in the middle where a bunch of like NXT tryout guys from Saudi Arabia were introduced as being the 4 picks from Saudi Arabia to come train at WWE. And they had a little bit where Davari and his brother came out and said, you guys suck. Saudi Arabia sucks. We're Iranian. We're way better. Typical WWE, country patriotism baiting stuff. Well, apparently they've received death threats, Davari and his brother, because of this angle. It's not clear whether they got it from people from Saudi Arabia who didn't take kindly to this, or if it was from Iranians for being beaten up by Saudi Arabians in this match. The only upside to this, the only bright spot, is that one of the 4 guys from Saudi Arabia, by the way, the guy who I thought was the most talented, he had the most natural charisma and seemed like he was going to go somewhere, a guy named Mansoor. He's actually come out in defense of Arya Davari very publicly. So props to him. I can see him going places in the WWE because he does have that kind of star quality.
Yes. Next up, Stardom Cinderella Tournament Finals. We had Io Shirai versus Mayu Iwatani.
Yeah, they went to time. It was going to be the semifinals match, but both of them got disqualified because the match went to time and neither one won, which I actually had Io Shirai. She's the ace. I had her taking this one and going back for the title again. But no, the finals became the Block A winners, which was Bea Priestley versus Momo Watanabe. And Momo picked it up. I thought Bea Priestley, also known as Will Ospreay's significant other, I thought she was going to pick it up and finally get a push. Now it's Momo this time, which is a good choice as well. So at some point, we're going to see a title match between Momo Watanabe and the champion of Stardom, Toni Storm, your girl.
Be still, my beating heart.
Toni Storm.
Can she possibly carry any more belts is the question. And can we possibly go any longer without WWE picking her up? Anyway, I digress.
Where is she
going on?
She's not going to go back to WWE with having all that brass on her. Come on, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, Cinco de Mayo is coming up, and our boy Pentagon's Dark or Penta El Zero M or Pentagon Jr., whatever you want to call him.
Whichever one of them pentas.
He's going to Iowa for Cinco de Mayo. What?
Huh?
Yeah, no. Wrestling Revolver is having a show out there, sponsored in part by Impact Wrestling. So Pentagon Zero is going to be going out to Iowa to face Jimmy Jacobs for the Impact World Championship. That should be fun. There's going to be an all-day Twitch stream.
Is he full-time? Is he signed with Impact now?
Yeah, he's signed with Impact. So he's with a few different companies. They've got to deal with, obviously, with Lucha Underground.
Well, there's constantly crossover between those guys and Lucha anyway, right?
Yeah, and Impact is looking really great because of the infusion of a lot of that talent that came from Lucha Underground.
Possible merger in the future, maybe.
Well, I think it's already happened. So as we reported before WrestleMania, Jake the Snake Roberts was at a convention, and Davey Boy Smith Jr. came up to him and threw hot coffee on him because of some statements that allegedly Jake had made about his dad, the British Bulldog. That has apparently been settled. Another convention. There's some people brokered some peace. The two of them talked. Jake has dropped his lawsuit against Davey Boy Jr. Apparently, they're on good. I love when nice things happen. So, hooray! They settled the differences like grown adults. And yeah,
why are you going to sue somebody for throwing coffee on you? Just go out, take them out back, and whoop their ass, and it's over with.
You know what? But if he hadn't done anything, they would have never reached this point where they had to settle this. So all's well that ends well. And speaking of ending, we will know what is the ending of Kane's bid to be the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
Because he's in the lead, or he won the primary.
He won the primary.
Yeah.
He is now the official GOP nominee. He won it by 17 votes. Like, he barely won.
Wow.
But he did win the primary. He will be the GOP nominee for the mayoral race of Knox County, Tennessee. That's going to happen in August. So we'll see. Kane's
go Glenn Jacobs.
Yeah, the devil's favorite son is on.
He's going to be a mayor.
Wow. Looking that way. Summer Rae is now healthy. She's had back and neck injuries for the last couple of years. One of the reasons why she was released from WWE, but she's returning to wrestling versus Ivelisse at Battle Championship Wrestling on May 25th.
Yes. Local LA girl, by the way, Danielle. I can't pronounce her last name, but it's Summer Rae. So I'm very excited about this. I think Ivelisse was one of the better women wrestlers that we got to see at Lucha Underground. So I love this match. I love this setup. I'm very happy that she's getting back in the ring.
Yeah, one person I'm scared of getting back in the ring is PCO. We've talked about him a lot lately, ever since I watched his match with Walter at WrestleMania weekend. Pierre-Carl Ouellette is preparing for his ICW match against Matt Riddle by apparently... He's shoulder pressing I'll post this in our Facebook group.
Yes.
It's a tweet he sent out. He's shoulder pressing a 200-pound weight, and his, I don't know if I want to call him a trainer or little buddy, is electrocuting him with a car battery and then breaking a bat over his legs while he's pressing this. It's the most insane wrestling.
It's
like
so
ECW.
insane. It's amazing.
It's like this some ECW crap here.
Yes.
It's fantastic. I'm getting all in on PCO, man. He's definitely flipping some switches for me.
Well, hey, we talked about, I marked out about Keith Lee earlier. I'll be clear about that, going out with a bang. But, hey, he's going to do this against Minoru Suzuki at Scrapper Mania next week.
Scrapper Mania, one of Ireland's biggest wrestling events, is happening May 12th. It's got a lot of other stars, too. Tomohiro Ishii is coming over from Japan. Zack Sabre Jr., Matt Riddle, Jeff Cobb, Will Ospreay. Dublin, Ireland, May 12th. I'm actually going to see if there's any way. I think they're recording it, so I may have to watch it like after on a tape or something, or DVD.
Dear Minoru Suzuki, please don't kill our Keith Lee.
Keith Lee might not be going to WWE after all, because he may be torn to pieces by a small, angry Japanese man. Ring of Honor New Japan War of the World is happening on May 13th. We're going to try and comment on that.
Still don't have a card for it yet.
No, there's no card for you. We don't know who's fighting.
Right.
So, but we will be covering that.
And it's less than 10 days from now.
I know,
but how do they do that?
What we will not be covering, I am sad to say, as we wind down the show, does not look like we will be able to cover All In, the largest
Starcast.
indie wrestling event in U.S. history.
Schaumburg, Illinois, outside of Chicago.
Apparently, all the hotels are already sold out.
Well, let me run this down for the listeners real quick. I really looked into this. I've been in communication all week with the folks at Starcast to try to get us in there. Apparently, the main hotel in Schaumburg that the event is going to be the host hotel, sold out in an hour. They have completely sold out 3 other neighboring hotels already that sold out in a matter of days. We would have to stay almost an hour away to be able to actually stay there anyway. And just to get in the door, the early bird special is $500 in order to be there on Podcasters Row and have a table with 2 chairs and internet to be able to do what we do.
And let's be clear, we are a professionally run and excellent podcast. Unfortunately, we're not exactly terribly monetized right now. We're working on that. That's in the 2-year plan. Yeah. We're definitely working towards getting the show monetized so that we can do fun events like All In and report on it and bring content from there to this show. To that end, if you do want to help us grow and you want to help this podcast get further along the road to being on that level, please throw us a tip in the tip jar over at patreon.com.
/BWO.
/BWO. Yes. Thank you very much. And go follow us on Facebook and keep track of us. Help us out with this show because we do plan on growing. We do plan on becoming the greatest podcast in the world, not only in terms of the quality we bring to you every week, but also in terms of size, accessibility, and just general prominence.
Yeah, I mean, you're setting your sights high. I kind of just want to beat Steven Larson. So if we can top those guys.
I do not think that at all.
Oh, why?
Okay, yeah, I do.
Well, guys, that's our show for this week. Thanks for hanging in there. Lots of news to go over this week, so we hope you really enjoyed that. As Ian said, definitely come over to Facebook and join us in the Busted Wide Open discussion group. Come follow us on Twitter at BWO Podcast. And if you like what we're doing on this show, you can head over to patreon.com/BWO, throw $1 in the tip jar, or sign up to do your very own promo right here on the show. If you want to pick up some sweet swag and let everybody know that this is your favorite podcast, you can head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/store and get a phone case, coffee mug, t-shirt, hoodie, whatever you may like.
And please, if you, whatever podcast app you are using for us, go to it. And if it has a subscribe button, hit that. If it has a like button, hit that. If it has a comment section, throw a comment on there saying that you love this show, or say what you think we could do better, because we love constructive criticism. If there's a star rating system, throw us 5 stars. The more you rate us, the more you talk about us on those apps, the higher we place, the more people we get, the better this show can become. And we are about growing the show and making this the premier wrestling podcast in the world.
But I'm Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at Data Center Dude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.